Rotting trash or garden gold? What if the banana peel you tossed yesterday could bring your roses back to life? What if your morning coffee grounds held the secret to the juiciest tomatoes you've ever grown? Composting isn't just a way to reduce waste. It's a quiet kind of magic. It transforms everyday scraps into rich, living soil. Whether you live in a city apartment or have a backyard garden, composting connects you to something deeper: growth, renewal, and nature's rhythm. This isn't just about dirt. It's about turning what we discard into something life-giving. Let's uncover the 6 easiest composting methods and find the one that fits your lifestyle. Stay tuned. Your trash might just be your garden's treasure. Meet Doris. She's 70 years old, lives in a quiet neighborhood, and loves her little herb garden. But a few years ago, simple things started getting harder. Taking out the trash became a real chore. Her arthritis flared up every time she dragged the heavy bin down her driveway. It wasn't just painful, it was exhausting. Then one day, her granddaughter showed her something that changed everything: composting. At first, Doris laughed. "I'm too old to play with dirt," she said. But she gave it a try, starting small with just a bucket under the sink. Coffee grounds, eggshells, veggie scraps. Slowly, week by week, that bucket turned into a neat compost bin by the back fence. Now, Doris hasn't taken out a full trash bag in months. Her backyard smells like basil, mint, and lavender, not garbage. Her tomatoes are plumper, her herbs richer, and her garden has become her favorite spot for morning tea. "I never thought rotting food could be a blessing," she says with a chuckle. "But here I am, making gold out of garbage." Doris isn't a scientist. She doesn't have fancy tools. She just found a way to make life easier, healthier, and more joyful, one compost pile at a time. If Doris can do it with sore joints in a small space, so can you. Let's explore the 6 easiest composting methods to find one that works for your lifestyle. Method number 1. Traditional backyard compost pile. Let's start with the method that might bring back memories. The traditional backyard compost pile. Picture this: a corner of the yard, a simple heap of kitchen scraps, dried leaves, maybe some old newspaper. No bins, no gadgets, just nature doing what it does best: breaking things down and building something new. This method has been around for generations. Many seniors remember their parents or grandparents tossing garden clippings and food waste into a pile behind the shed. Back then, it wasn't called eco-friendly. It was just common sense. Waste not, want not. Here's how it works. You start with a bare patch of earth. Add your kitchen scraps, things like fruit peels, veggie ends, eggshells, and layer them with browns like dry leaves, straw, or shredded newspaper. The browns add carbon, which balances out the nitrogen-rich greens from your food waste. Every week or two, give the pile a turn with a pitchfork or shovel to let air in. This helps everything break down faster. With time, the pile shrinks, darkens, and turns into rich, earthy compost. The benefits? It's simple and cost-free. It handles large volumes of waste. It can feel deeply nostalgic and grounding. There's something satisfying about watching your food scraps become life-giving soil right in your backyard. But let's be honest, it's not perfect for everyone. It requires space. If you live in an apartment or have a small yard, this method might not be ideal. And turning the pile regularly can be physically demanding, especially for those with limited mobility or arthritis like Doris. Some folks build a small fence around their pile to keep it tidy and discourage curious critters. Others use a tarp to keep it dry during rainy seasons. It's flexible. You can make it your own. Is this how you composted growing up? Or do you remember your grandparents keeping a pile behind the garden? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. Coming up next, a method that works even if all you have is a patio or balcony. Stay tuned. Method number 2, compost bin, enclosed plastic or wooden. If the idea of a messy backyard heap doesn't quite fit your lifestyle or your HOA rules, then this next method might be your composting sweet spot. The enclosed compost bin. Unlike the open pile, this method keeps everything contained, tidy, and neat. It's perfect for seniors who want the benefits of composting without the smells, mess, or critters. Doris, our friend from earlier, upgraded to a black plastic bin after her neighbors started asking about that pile by the fence. Now her compost sits just outside her back door in a closed container. No flies, no fuss. So how does it work? You toss your food scraps and garden waste into a container, often a drum, wooden box, or lidded plastic bin. Just like the traditional method, you'll still want to balance your greens, like veggie peels and coffee grounds, with browns, like paper or dry leaves. Many enclosed bins come with ventilation, holes, and even a small door at the bottom to scoop out finished compost. Some models rotate with a crank, making it easier on the arms and back. No pitchfork required. Why it works so well? Keeps everything contained and organized. Minimizes odors and flies. Protects from animals or curious pets. Looks tidy, even in small gardens or patios. Great for people who want less bending or mess. You might be wondering, what's the catch? Well, enclosed bins typically require a small, upfront cost, anywhere from $15,000 to $40,000 depending on the size and material. But here's the thing, once you have it, it can last years. And the savings on store-bought fertilizer and soil conditioners adds up fast. Plus, there's something nice about walking out your kitchen door and dropping scraps right into a bin. No wheelbarrow, no shovel, just easy maintenance. Would you spend a little now to save a lot later on fertilizer, soil, and waste hauling? Let us know in the comments. What would make composting easier for you? Next up, a method that fits right under your kitchen sink and might surprise you. Method number 3, vermicomposting, worm composting. If you've ever thought composting sounds messy, smelly, or space-consuming, meet the tiny heroes who are changing the game, worms. Yes, worms. But before you squirm, hear us out. Vermicomposting is a surprisingly clean, compact, and low-maintenance way to compost, especially if you live in an apartment, have limited mobility, or just want something fun and efficient. Picture a small bin that fits under your sink, on your balcony, or in the corner of your laundry room. Inside, a colony of red wigglers quietly munches away on your food scraps, turning banana peels, tea bags, and coffee grounds into dark, rich compost and a nutrient-rich liquid known as worm tea. Worms that work while you nap. They don't bark. They don't bite. They just dig, eat, and transform waste into black gold 24/7. Why vermicomposting works so well. Great for small spaces and indoor use. Produces highly concentrated, fast-acting compost. Virtually no odor when managed correctly. No heavy lifting or turning piles. Engaging for kids and grandkids to help with. Doris says her worm bin is like a quiet little farm in a box. They're the only pets I don't have to walk, she laughs. What do you need to start? A plastic or wooden bin with air holes. Moist bedding, shredded newspaper, cardboard, or coconut fiber. Red wiggler worms, available from local suppliers or gardening stores. A small collection tray to catch worm tea. Every few days, you lift the lid and add food scraps in small amounts, making sure not to overload the bin. In return, the worms reward you with nutrient-rich castings that your plants will love. What's the catch? Worm care can seem intimidating at first. They prefer shade, moisture, and the right balance of food. You'll need to avoid adding things like onions, citrus, or too much dairy. But once you learn their rhythm, they're incredibly easy to manage. You're not just composting, you're creating life. You're nurturing a tiny ecosystem that gives back tenfold. Worms, love 'em or leave 'em. Would you try composting with worms? Tell us in the comments and share your you or aha moments. Coming next, a method even the busiest senior can manage. No turning, no mess. Method number 4, Bokashi composting, fermentation method. Have you ever wondered if there's a composting method that can handle things like meat, cheese, or cooked food? The stuff you were always told not to compost? Enter Bokashi composting, a lesser-known but incredibly powerful method that works right in your kitchen. Unlike traditional composting, Bokashi doesn't rely on worms or open-air decomposition. Instead, it uses a special fermentation process to break down all kinds of food scraps, including those tricky ones like bones, dairy, and oily leftovers. Here's how it works. You place your food scraps into an airtight bin and sprinkle each layer with a special Bokashi bran, a mix of sawdust or bran inoculated with beneficial microbes. These microbes quickly get to work fermenting the waste, locking in nutrients and breaking things down without oxygen. Over about 2 weeks, the food doesn't rot, it ferments. That means less smell, fewer pests, and a much faster breakdown once the material hits the soil. After fermentation, the waste needs to be buried in soil or added to a traditional compost bin to fully finish breaking down. Why seniors and apartment dwellers love Bokashi. It's compact and works entirely indoors. You can compost meat, dairy, and cooked foods. No turning, no pests, and very little mess. It produces a nutrient-rich liquid, Bokashi tea, for your plants. Great for reducing kitchen waste when trash runs are hard. Doris says her Bokashi bucket lives under her kitchen sink, quietly collecting everything from chicken bones to old bread. Method number 5, trench composting, low effort, no turning. Not everyone has the time, strength, or patience to turn compost piles or manage bins. If you're looking for a method that's quiet, hidden, and completely hands-off, trench composting may be your perfect match. Trench composting is one of the oldest and simplest composting techniques out there. And best of all, the earth does all the work. Here's how it works. You dig a trench or hole, anywhere from 6 to 12 inches deep, right in your garden bed, along a walkway, or between rows of plants. Then you add your food scraps, anything from vegetable peels and coffee grounds to eggshells, and even tea bags. Once the scraps are in, you cover them back up with soil. That's it. No turning, no smell, no mess. Over time, microbes and earthworms find their way to the buried treasure. They break it down naturally, enriching the surrounding soil and feeding your plants from the roots up. Why seniors love trench composting. No bins, no equipment, just a shovel and soil. No maintenance after burial. Great for reducing waste quietly and easily. Feeds your garden without any added fertilizer. Perfect for those with limited mobility or arthritis. Doris calls it her lazy gardener's secret. She walks out with her bucket of scraps, digs a little hole near her basil, and lets nature do the rest. Weeks later, that patch of soil is rich, soft, and bursting with new life. A few tips for success. Choose a new trench spot each time to avoid overloading one area. Avoid burying large bones or lots of citrus peels. They take longer to break down. If you don't have an active garden bed, dig along the borders of your lawn or future planting spots. Challenges? You do need access to soil, so this method isn't ideal for apartment dwellers or homes without a yard. And while digging a hole is simple, it may still require some bending or light shoveling, which could be a factor for some. Sometimes, the most powerful work happens underground. With trench composting, you're partnering with the earth itself. There's no stress, no gadgets, just quiet, patient transformation. Ever tried trench composting? Tell us how it worked or what you'd plant over your compost trench. We'd love to hear your story. Next up, the no backyard, no problem solution, perfect for even the tiniest spaces. Method number 6, indoor electric composters. If you love the idea of composting but can't imagine dealing with worms, piles, or trenches, there's good news. Technology has entered the garden. Meet the indoor electric composter, a sleek, countertop machine that takes your food scraps and turns them into dry, odorless compost in as little as a few hours. For seniors who live in apartments, have limited mobility, or simply want a fast, fuss-free solution, this modern method feels like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's very real. How does it work? You toss in your kitchen scraps, banana peels, veggie ends, even small bones or coffee grounds. Close the lid, press a button, and walk away. The machine grinds, dries, and cools the scraps through a quiet, odor-free process. In the end, you're left with a dry, nutrient-rich material that you can sprinkle into your soil or potted plants. Why many seniors are loving electric composters. Fast. Compost is ready in hours or overnight. Clean. No smell, no bugs, no mess. Easy. No turning, no heavy lifting, no bending. Compact. Fits right on your kitchen counter or shelf. Convenient. Great for apartments, condos, or anyone with no outdoor space. Doris says it feels like having a mini garden assistant. I finished dinner, pop the scraps into the composter, and by morning, I have something I can feed my herbs with. It's like magic, but with buttons. Of course, there's a catch. Electric composters require a power source. They can be pricey, ranging from $90,000 to $250,000 depending on the model. And the end product, while useful, isn't quite the same as rich, biologically active compost. It's more of a soil booster. Still, For those who want a hassle-free, modern option, especially in tight spaces, electric composters are revolutionizing how we think about food waste. For those who grew up with rotary phones and now video call their grandkids, this is just another step in adapting and thriving in a changing world. Composting doesn't have to be old-fashioned. Is tech the future of composting? Or is it cheating? Would you try one of these sleek machines? Or do you prefer to let nature take its course? Let's talk about it in the comments. Coming up next, we'll help you decide which composting method is best for you. So, which composting method is right for you? With so many great options, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But don't worry, let's break it down into 4 simple categories: space, budget, effort, and speed. Because at the end of the day, the best composting method isn't the fanciest or fastest. It's the one you'll actually stick with. How to choose based on you. If you love gardening and have outdoor space, the traditional pile, trench, or bin method will feel rewarding and familiar. Great for growing flowers, veggies, or herbs right in your backyard. If you're in an apartment or have limited space, vermicomposting, Bokashi, or an electric composter keeps it neat and manageable without the need for outdoor access. If mobility is a concern, go for a method that requires little to no lifting. Electric composters, Bokashi, or even trench composting with a long-handled trowel are senior-friendly and low-maintenance. On a tight budget, start small and free with a trench or backyard pile, or upcycle an old bin for vermicomposting. In a hurry to see results? Vermicomposting and electric composters are your speed demons, breaking down waste in days or even hours. Don't worry about being perfect. Composting isn't a test, it's a habit, a quiet act of care for your garden, your health, and the planet. Whether you're turning a backyard pile or pressing a button on your countertop, you're part of something bigger. Even Doris didn't find the perfect method right away. She tried 2 before settling on what worked best for her hands and home. So choose the method that fits your life, your space, and your rhythm. Because when composting feels natural, you'll keep doing it, and that's what makes it matter. Which method are you leaning toward? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your aha moments or hesitations. And don't forget, your composting journey could inspire someone else to begin theirs.